Go ahead, Sheriff.
Well, good afternoon. I am Sheriff Mike Williams, and I'm joined here today by our State Attorney Angela Corey and Chief Tom Hackney, our Chief of Investigations. As you are more than aware, in July of last year, July 24th of last year, Lonzie Barton disappeared from an apartment complex on the south side of Jacksonville. That led us to an extensive search for many days in many areas of our community. We had at times 425 people searching on a daily basis during this time when we were looking for Lonzie. 38 agencies represented from all over the southeast, really, that came to help us to do that. We scaled back that large-scale search on August 2nd of last year. But I want to make the point today that our investigative team continued to work this case and have worked it for the last 142 days nonstop. We are here today to tell you that we strongly believe that we have found the remains of Lonzie Barton in a wooded area nearby here. With that, I'm going to turn it over for additional details to Chief Tom Hackney. Tom?
Thanks, Sheriff. As Sheriff Williams outlined, our investigative efforts have been ongoing since day one that I stood up and presented this case to the media and asked for the public's help. Many sleepless nights have gone on, from the investigators in the case to the state attorneys involved with this to members of the public. And our goal from the beginning was to find Lonzie. Unfortunately, it turned pretty obvious pretty quickly that that wasn't going to happen with him being alive, but that didn't stop our efforts and didn't stop the interest of the public. It is a very sad day that we find these remains that we believe to be Lonzie's, but it's the first step in justice. I mentioned several times that that little boy didn't need to be discarded like a piece of trash, and today we are able to take what we believe to be him from being disposed just like that, in the hopes that he can spend his eternity in somewhere that's peaceful and not somewhere that is basically a garbage heap. And that's just wrong. It is this case isn't over. We've got a lot of steps. There's a lot of legalities, some legalities about how we got out here today. We have worked with Ruben Ebron and his attorneys at pretty much every step of the way. And again, specifics, as we discussed this many times, I've not been able to give you specifics. And the lack of my specificity has been because I don't want to jeopardize the judicial process of this case. The justice is sometimes slow and sometimes piece by piece. And today is just another piece of the justice that we have. Finding the body is a very, very large piece of that. This community, I can tell you from comments that I have received since the beginning of this family of this community is really Lonzie's family, and they love him. The investigative team, I can tell you, they take it with them to bed every night. Today's actions, today's recoveries, and what led us here is, again, it's just a piece of that justice. I can certainly let you know that our efforts aren't through. Today is not the end. Today is just another step. It's most important that this community is aware that the efforts, the investigative efforts, the decisions that were made in this case by the sheriff's office and working with the state attorney's office were the goal of taking that child from places unknown today to a specific place, and from that specific place to a location of peace. So as this continues, just know that our efforts will still continue until this can be fully completed. So, thank you.
We have a great, really working relationship here in Northeast Florida with all of our, state, local, and federal partners, and we have a great day-to-day working relationship with our state attorney, Angela Corey, who's been a big part of this investigation from the very beginning. So with that, I'm going to invite Angela to the podium.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good afternoon, and thank you for being here. And Ann and the Justice Coalition, thank you for always being around to help us represent our victims. Working with law enforcement is critical, and that's why this case illustrates it better than possibly any other case that we've dealt with lately. If you cannot work with law enforcement, you cannot attempt to seek justice as it should be on a case-by-case basis. So that's been the parameters of this case, working with law enforcement from the beginning. Working to find Lonzie's body has been of paramount importance to us. And as Tom just said, this is one piece in an ongoing quest for justice for Lonzie. And so we may not be able to give you all of the answers today. We do believe that the remains found are Lonzie Barton, so that starts another whole process, as you well know, with our medical examiner, who also is helping us with this case, and we will have more answers in the coming weeks. However, we believe that what got us to this point today was critical, and it was necessary, and it's one of the things that we do daily in the criminal justice system is work to seek a resolution of a case that helps us get what's necessary for justice and the safety of this community. So with that, we are here to thank the Sheriff's Office for everything that they did. The decisions that led up to getting us to this point today to finding this child's body were made jointly. Obviously, at some point, the sheriff and I have ultimate responsibility for our agencies, but there is such a comfort level, and I hope the community understands that, to know that your law enforcement team, the sheriff's office and the state attorney's office, always work together to do the right thing for the right reason. Now, to some who want to jump to conclusions out in the public, I ask you to be patient and wait and let this process take its course. Let me just remind you of one brief thing. You know that the reason of the timing for today's events was that speedy trial had not been waived, and our prosecutors and the defense attorneys were set to pick a jury. So the defendant waived speedy trial, and as you know, that allowed a continuance of the case. But because we were able to go ahead by working with the defense to find this child's body, we set in motion another series of events that will happen in the courtroom at some point in the next few weeks. And at this point, I can't comment on the specifics of that, but I can tell you we will be answering everyone's questions if people will please just give the justice system time to take its course. Nothing is more important than due process, and that would be due process for our side and as well as for the defendant. And as you know, we have a co-defendant involved in this case as well. So again, I thank the Sheriff's Office for everything they've done. I want to commend my lawyers. I have 3 lawyers working on this case. Rich Mantah, London Kite, and Lee Smith stepped in a few weeks ago to help them with this, and it's been a very, very difficult case, as you well know. Child murders in general, where a child is in the custody of more than one adult, are always difficult. I don't think I need to remind any of you standing here how difficult the Casey Anthony case was. So when people ask you questions that you can't answer yet, as you owe your public an answer, tell them to give us time to give you the answers to get to them, and I assure you we will do that. Thank you, Sheriff, and thank you, Tom.
Thank you. Before we answer a few questions, I do want to extend some thanks to, again, the 38 agencies from all over the Southeast that responded here back in July and August and helped us with this search. The investigative team at JSO, who has, again, done a fantastic job and has really lived with this case day in and day out for the last 142 days, and to the media for the help that you gave us during those first opening weeks of this investigation. We were able to share a lot of information, get a lot of information out to the public, and could not have done that without you. And lastly, but certainly not least, this community. The outpouring of support that we got from this community was unbelievable and unprecedented, and you don't see that around the country. So just a thank you from me to our community for all the great things that you did during that time that we were really struggling and searching for Lonzie. So with that, we'll answer a few questions.
Without specifics that would jeopardize the case, can you say if any sort of deal was struck with Ruben and Iran?
No, not at this point. So we are, again, part of the process that, as we just mentioned, that we're still working through.
Does this affect Lana Barton's case?
Excuse me?
Does this affect Lana Barton's case and whether or not she had knowledge? As far as we understand, her situation was kind of settled last week. Ms. Corey, can you say this?
I can say that's part of the ongoing part of justice that we're seeking, is looking at how the events of this week, working with Reuben Ebron and his lawyers, affect Lana Barton's case. So that's going to take a couple of days to sort through, and that also involves, she has her own lawyer, and it involves its own set of due process rules, and so we're going to have to see where that goes.
Why did Reuben Ebron lead you here to the scene?
I'm sorry?
Did Reuben Ebron lead you here to the scene?
Well, that would be the sheriff's office part of the investigation, so I'm going to let them answer that. And if you don't mind, if you could ask the sheriff so we don't have to go back and forth, if you'll ask law enforcement questions and anything he can't answer, I'll be glad to try to answer. Thank you.
Yeah, short answer is yes. He has cooperated with us, and he did lead us here.
Was he out here?
Chief Hackney said that he was found in a garbage heap. Could you just explain how Lonzie was found in the area back there where he was found?
So without going into too much detail, it was that Tom has given you an accurate description. Nowhere that you want a child to be, and I'll just leave it at that.
Why do you believe this body is Lonzie Barton?
Lots of investigative factors have led us to that, and again, if we weren't really sure, I wouldn't be standing here in front of you today. Many, again, the factors that we can't get into today, but as this process unfolds, you will see and hear more about those. But we feel strongly that it's him. Reuben Ebron participated in us being out here today and leading us to where we found Lonzie Barton.
Was he out here?
He has been out here.
Was Lonzie buried?
I won't answer that.
Why did Reuben Ebron ultimately decide to leave?
Again, that's part of a long process that we have been working on for many weeks, and it's a part of a process that will continue. But obviously, at some point in time, he had agreed to do that and cooperate with us, and he did.
Sheriff, you and Investigator Hackney have had so many conversations with him since the summer. Do you have a sense of what snapped? I mean, obviously, he could have led you here that whole time. What changed for him that he came forward?
Well, anytime that you're dealing with an individual like that, it is a process. It's a process to work through, and it's a process of our investigative team really working with him, and then, as Angela mentioned, working through his attorneys. And, again, lots of conversation got him to this point, and I won't expand beyond that.
What condition was the body in?
I won't comment on that
Have
as
the
well.
remains been removed, or are they still here?
That's in process.
Sheriff, any info from Reuben Ebron about how the child may have died? Any info from the scene how he may have died?
Again, those are investigative details that we will not share with you at this time.
Was this area searched as part of the initial search for Lonzie?
No, it was not. So we are probably a few miles south of our most southern location on our initial searches back in August.
Do you suspect that Reuben Ebron orchestrated where you searched and throw you off of coming here 6 months ago?
That is still yet to be determined. Well, it's horrific. It's, as Tom said, I mean, it's not the kind of it's nobody's final resting place. So the fact that, again, we were able to bring some justice to Lonzie and remove him from where he was today is really what today is about. And I couldn't be prouder of our team for leading that effort and being able to do that. That's up to yet to be determined.
So you believe Lonzie was here from that day?
Yes, we do.
Is there anything that apparently ties Ebron to this area or that would indicate why he left the body here?
Again, I won't go into that kind of detail right
Do you
now.
believe that anyone other than Ebron knew that this was the resting place of Lonzie?
At this point, I can't answer that question.
Was Lonzie dead before the night of the stage car incident, or do you believe he had been killed beforehand?
We believe that probably before that he was dead, and again, that's part of the ongoing investigation. But that's our belief at this point.
24, 48 hours before?
Probably less than that.
Do you believe Lonzie was still alive when Lonzie Barton left for work that day?
Again, all part of the ongoing process. There's a lot more of this investigation to unfold. We have new facts now. We have new things to talk about. So as the next several weeks unfold, those are some of the questions that we'll be asking.
Sheriff, was it solely Reuben Ebron that led you guys here, or was any info gotten from Lana Barton in the last couple days that helped lead you here?
Lots of things led us here, to include some cooperation from Ebron, and I'll just leave it at that.
Any cooperation from her, or any sign that she knew about this?
Again, that's still yet to be determined.
How difficult is it going to be to answer some of these questions about when Lonzie died, that kind of thing, because we've been out in the elements for 6 months?
Oh, it's going to be challenging. It really, forensically, that's where the challenge is going to be. As Angela mentioned, Dr. Rao, the medical examiner, was out here earlier today, kind of supervising some of the process that we're going through. And there's a lot of science behind that. So we're making sure that we cross every T and dot every I and do that correctly so that we can answer as much as we can forensically about what may have happened.
Sure. Can we ask Chief Hackney a question?
Yeah, absolutely, Tom.
Sure. Chief, in this case, I mean, obviously it's touched you. I mean, how does it make you feel this day to have this come to a resolution? And I mean, it's been a long road, and I know it hasn't been easy for you.
It's not just about me, though. It's about, and I said this early on, I'm kind of the face behind the numerous, at sometimes hundreds of law enforcement, local and state, and even some federal partners that came in. I was the emotional face behind what was being felt by all of them, and I have to assume that today that every one of them is filled with something similar to what I am. There's a bit of relief. I can't say there's any joy, but there is some satisfaction in the fact that the first step of justice, and that first step is just to give him a chance to be put like any of us would want our children put, and where we found him wasn't. So it's tough.
Can you describe the site, at least generally, where he was discovered?
I don't think that helps. I've kind of been vague about it and thrown a couple adjectives out that should give you kind of a clue. I don't need to go into any more detail than that. Just it wasn't a little blue coffin that he was in where he deserved to be. First of all, he didn't deserve to be dead.
Was he visible? Private land, was he visible, or was he secretive in some way?
Dana, specifics at this time, I don't really think it helps. We made our efforts, and we spent all this time, and it wasn't just the times in July that when we had leads and had tips, we came out and we looked, and I said, if there's a puddle, we're in it, and if there's a tree, we're under it. We went specifically.
Did it appear to be a rushed kind of disposal? I mean, can you say that? Whether it had something that was taken some time to do, or was something that was done suddenly?
I mean, that's hard to say. That comes supposition on my part, and I certainly don't want to try to suppose in what he would or wouldn't do. It's really hard to say, and to know that he was disposed of in the manner that he was, that's the key, is that today that was rectified.
Are there any new players in the investigation, any new places where you're getting information now?
I think the sheriff addressed that.
Chief, you had said initially from the onset that Ruben Ebron was the chief suspect in the disappearance of Lonzie Barton. Is that still the case? And if so, was he the only suspect?
It's easy to say that at the beginning he was the chief suspect, and today he is the chief suspect. Are there other aspects of the case from our investigative end, both to the prosecutorial end, that could be involved? Yes, but he had care, custody, and control of Lonzie during the time that he did, and then he didn't. So that leaves him.
How is Lana responding to this information that her son was found?
I don't know.
Any other questions? For Ms. Corey.
Yes, ma'am.
So moving forward in the courtroom now, are there new charges being considered against Ebron, including homicide or murder related?
Well, there's new charges being considered. I can't say at this point against who or how many. But just remember, as I told you, when a child is in the custody of multiple adults and we don't have a way to time the injuries, it's been a historic problem for us. I can point to many child death cases where we've had these kinds of difficulties, and we've had to do the best we could to seek justice for that child, because usually there's only other young children in the house, as there was in this case, and it's very difficult when there is more than one person involved and the cause of death is not immediately known.
Can you say why Ruben Ebron's family members have been asked to come to court? I believe we heard his mother.
Well, it was supposed to be on the calendar, but I think it's been continued, and I don't have the continuance date, but I'll have Jackie get the word to y'all as soon as I know it's going to be back on the calendar. We'll issue a press release.
Any details on why it was continued?
I'm sorry?
Any details on why it was continued?
Well, it was continued because he waived speedy trial. There were some issues with a witness that came up over the weekend, and then the case got continued this morning while we were out here.
It appeared there was a scheduled hearing for this afternoon. Everybody was in the courtroom from the prosecution side, from the defense side, and then last minute that was called off. Any insight on that?
Not yet, but I'll find out when I get back to the office.
any of the reasons for the continuance have to do with the search?
Not specifically with the search, but with the fact that the search led us to the body, and now that changes things somewhat, and then we have to reevaluate and go from there. And remember, again, all of this would have been done as part of a pending case, but it was set for trial today. So that caused somewhat of the time crunch that we're in as far as you all expecting us to pick a jury today and go. And then these developments started last night, and then that changed everything. But I can assure all of you that Mr. Ebron's attorneys and the defendant himself were involved in this from yesterday forward and in some days last week. But still, I mean, part of the due process is making sure that they are good with the continuance and everything that's going on. So if there was a continuance this afternoon, and I have reason to believe there was, that nothing did happen in court, then all of the lawyers would have been there with the judge in making that decision.
As far as the timeline goes, the discovery of the remains of Mr. Lonzie were found last night, or they were found today?
Well, after midnight, yes, so today.
You mentioned historic injuries. You're dealing in a case where historic injuries of this child were evident to you?
No, historic cases. Some of the cases we've dealt with where children do have injuries that we can time to within minutes to hours of their death, and then they have healing injuries. That's one of the issues I was saying, Dana, with child murders in general.
So do you know, I mean, was there a time span of abuse with this child that you're aware of, or that you...
There were some injuries, but as you know, with children, without observations by credible witnesses to say that a bruise here or a bruise there occurred in a particular way, we've always had that difficulty. So all of that will be looked at by the medical examiner, and my lawyers have already spoken with any caregivers, as far as medical caregivers, that Lonzie had before this. So now we've got to wait on Dr. Rao. We've got to give her time to do her job before we can even proceed any further. So I think the best thing to tell you right now is that William Ebron remains in jail, Lana Barton remains in jail, and we need time to do our jobs, and we're asking you all in the community for the time to seek justice, continue to seek justice, and to allow due process to take its course.
Had he agreed to this, the plea agreement, the 20-year plea agreement that had been reported earlier today? Had he agreed to that at one point?
Well, we can't discuss the parameters of a plea agreement unless and until it's accepted in open court by the judge. And so that will be done at an appropriate time with full explanation for the specifics of it and any other charges that remain. I know you all are aware that part of the charges were severed, and that we were only going to trial this week on the charges pertaining to the children. And so then we'll deal with those charges as well as the other charges.
Is the state open to a plea agreement?
Is what?
Is the state open to a plea agreement?
Well, short of where we've declared the death penalty and said we're not waiving death, plea bargains can happen at any time. They've happened right up to the jury selection. Sometimes for equity reasons, we've plea bargained a case after a jury selection. There's always issues with witnesses. What I would ask the public to remember is we can't guarantee justice with a money-back guarantee. These cases change sometimes daily. Things happen. As I told you, there's an issue with a witness that happened over the weekend. I mean, things just happen in criminal cases because it involves a compilation of human witnesses and sometimes a lack of witnesses. And so we deal with each case on a case-by-case basis and do the best that we can with
After
it.
the last week, Lana Barton went from being a co-defendant to a prosecution witness. Is she now back to a co-defendant in this case?
Well, it will depend on whether or not we have to continue with a trial on whatever charges with William Ebron or anyone else who may or may not be involved. So right now she has entered a plea and her sentence will be pending until we're done with this part of the investigation. Again, a huge development, and as you know, Director Hackney said, a very comforting development. I can't say it's happy, but in a sense it is because we found this child.
One more question.
How influential was Lana Barton pleading to and agreeing to testify to Ruben Ebron?
Well, I can tell you that her plea started a series of meetings with the defense attorneys for Ruben Ebron, and here we are a few days later. And I'm sorry, I think her plea was last Wednesday or Thursday. So, yes, you see where we are. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sheriff.
You're good. Thank you. And again, with that, no more questions for now. And thank you guys again for all your work in the summer. And thank you for being out here today and staying all day and being patient with us. We really appreciate that. And you'll hear more from us soon. Thank you.
Thank you. And you've just heard Sheriff Mike Williams saying he believes, strongly believes, the remains found today are Lonzie Barton's remains. 425 people searching at times on a daily basis, 38 agencies involved, and after 142 days, he says that he believes the remains are Lonzie Barton's.